Welcome to another episode of Live with Lizzy, coming to you from beautiful Boston, Massachusetts. Today, I come to you to share some poems and backstory from my new book, Give It a Home, which you can find on the Barnes& Noble website. So, when last I joined you, we left off halfway into chapter 3. So, we're going to pick right up where we left off. The honey and the knife. Graze knife over steel, dip it in honey. The sharpest blade requires some sweetener. The sugar doesn't mind the edge, you see. It flows around over between under. The reason you don't hone honey dippers is that they're all about the rough, the grip. So many edges, fingerprints, sugar. Dippers need grain or the honey will slip. Knives dreaming too long in honey won't slice. They have to find a new way in the world. Some do not care, the honey feels too nice. Sometimes you give it all up for a girl. A knife so crystallized has made a choice. When it stays still, it raises sharpened voice. When I wrote this poem, I was feeling like I didn't fit in at the place I was working at the time. This is when I was working at a bakery and making bread for them. And I was looking for ways to find approval there and was not really successful. So I was thinking a lot about whether I was even in the right place for the person that I am, or whether I was maybe a tool that was being used for the wrong job. Properly spent. To play the violin requires distance. Up close, a rasping whisper in your face. The horsehair of the string, it takes a chance. It trusts that it will reach its proper place. The edges of the sound are rough and raw. Do not be fooled by mixing board magic. The violin will allow you to draw so close if you accept what is ragged. The violin can harmonize alone, though it sounds gorgeous with some company. It can find acceptance within its tone and without from those hands that know to please. So draw the bow, but only with intent. The sweetest sound is time properly spent. This is inspired by a revelation I had when I started going to orchestra camp when I was a young tween, I guess. I ultimately ended up going to music school to study flute, and in the process of doing so, ended up meeting a lot of other orchestral musicians, many string players among them. And what was interesting to me is that the violin is such a beautiful, pure sound from far away, but up close, it sounds really raspy. And it just really blew my mind that distance could be so forgiving. Hope. Hope is a quiet curiosity. It pads into your room on kitten toes. It settles itself down beside your feet. When you're ready, it will share what it knows. Hope thinks you might not trust it to be real. That's why its claw sometimes gives you a scratch. It wants you to know you're able to feel. That is the glory of life and the catch. Hope cannot root itself in ruined earth. To poor foundation, stones must be removed. No, this work is the kind that shows your worth. To you, that is, to whom it should be proved. Hope is beating a sword into a plow. It's working hard to let your heart allow. This poem was inspired by a time in my life when I was having a hard time figuring out how to move forward in a positive way. I was losing a lot of what helped me feel stable. I was, out of a job and going through a breakup and just generally not feeling very successful. So I was struggling to figure out what hope looked like in that particular situation. To-do list. My task of late has been to choose substance, to over and over again appear, to trust others to hold me in this dance, to stay when others say they want me near. A ghost can learn a solid way of life, with time and help and patience and mistakes. Ethereal creature, I am no wife. No love ever thought I had what it takes. A phantom woman can claim solid form. She just needs proper resources, that's all. A life given a chance can become warm. I always get back up each time I fall. The to-do list is long, it never ends, but it's easier when I'm held by friends. So again, I was going through a pretty hard time while I was writing this part of this book. And I was also coming to understand that I didn't have to be perfect and it could be okay that I was going through a hard time. And I was starting to understand for maybe the first time that I could still deserve friendship and acceptance even when I didn't have everything all the way together. Brakes. I hit my brakes so many miles ago. I bore down hard, beheld the angry sparks. The passengers climbed out escape windows. They took their luggage and retrieved their hearts. My brakes can't grip at first. They need some time, some track to figure out what's going on. Always slow, even way back in their prime, and now they waken loudly with a yawn. What happens in the space between action and reaction? A processing occurs, a stillness in the motion of passion. The line between before and after blurs. Slam that stainless steel pedal to the floor and hang onto the handle of the door. So, I don't know about you all, but change is really hard for me. Transitions are always just the worst time ever. And they always remind me of how a train needs like a mile or something um, between when it hits its brakes and when it can come to a complete stop. And a lot of the times I feel similarly about a big transition. I feel like I tend to process them on the slower side. And that was what came out in this particular sonnet. Serpent. The serpent slips between the garden rows. She slithers here and there, all forking tongue. She tastes the air where the sweet berries grow. Where mice smell the serpent, little feet run. She shines beneath the rays of sinking blaze, all thick ropes, coils of muscle memory. She craves a stone where she can spend her days, a boulder holding sun for her beneath. Black as dilated pupils, her fine scales reveal nothing. Is she poison or safe? The whole town knows that dead men tell no tales. If you wish to approach, you trust your fate. The serpent rests patiently in the dirt. She's curious. You here to fight or flirt? So when I was working on this particular sonnet, I was in a weird place. I was getting over the ending of a long relationship, and I was kind of oscillating between feeling really bad about myself for that and feeling good about myself for attention I was getting from new dates. And that was just a really odd combination of feelings to have at the same time. Job searches. A man curls over latte and the news. Job searches for another man to be. That seeker of biblical proportions grew too restless in his life. He had to flee. Surrounding, crowds combine, vibrant strangers. Soap bubbles converging, becoming one. Press in, come close, watch as curves rearrange. Choose carefully, it cannot be undone. The pages turn, Job rakes them with his eyes. One column, then the next, each line in turn. He knows just what he seeks, but where to find. A finished paper is only good to burn. If he would simply raise his eyes to see, perhaps he would decide to notice me. I was at a new job after the bakery job that I really didn't like very much. So I was pretty actively hunting for something else while I was there. So I was thinking a lot about job searches. And then one day I was like, oh, I kind of feel like job searching feels a little bit like the suffering of Job sometimes, if you get real dramatic about it. And that's where that came from. Litany. Let each of us have dignity at least. Let us feel worthy, loved, human, and whole. Let us have ready shelter from the beasts who seek to consume us, body and soul. Let each of us feel safe inside ourselves. Let us find what we seek when we reach out. Let us grow spreading wings of ringing bells and visit those far shores we've read about. Let us land softly where our feet alight. Let us find solid, floral, fertile ground. Let us warm our hands in syrup sunshine, feel where we will someday come back around. A person who is given what they need will find a way to give back what they seek. This poem was a bit of wishful thinking on my part. I was, again, just uh, feeling really down on myself and feeling a lot of stress about what was going to come next. And I just needed something to counter program all of that anxiety. So I was wondering, wouldn't it be nice if someone could just reassure me about all of the things that I still deserve, even if maybe I don't feel so good about myself? Black and blue. Out for a walk, I notice wind pick up. It kisses the left side of my sweet face. I glance that way, black cloud wall, ragged rough. The opposite direction, pale blue grace. I think I have some time before the rain. I grew up in the country after all. One thing you learn to tell if you have brains, just how long it will be before drops fall. I settle at the park to write some words, the ones you're reading now to be exact. Some little kids play nearby, tiny blurs. Their minds are filled with feelings, dreams, and facts. A roaming raindrop cozies with my phone. I guess I better pack up, head for home. So I used to live right near this really cute park that was a nice third space for the community. And I did used to go there and work on this book, Give It Home, buy it from Barnes and Noble, please. And I used to go to this little park and just watch the cross section of the neighborhood. And I really enjoyed seeing the teenagers who were staking their claim in the world for the first time, and the young parents and the super old people still getting out there. And yeah, I lived really close. So even on a day like today, when it's pretty ominous and threatening to rain, I felt like I could stay there right up until it started raining because I lived so nearby. Wooden wheel. A year compressed into a single day. A loss, and then another loss. I cannot stress enough, I'll be okay, though lately my poor ship's been getting tossed. The test, the question, cling tight or let go. A wooden wheel strains hard against the waves. The fish would tell me to join them below. The birds would say the air is where I'm saved. The lesson hurts a little less each time, but questions, they get mean when confronted. If wishing on a star is made a crime, show me on America's Most Wanted. A mermaid throws tresses over shoulder, advises me to act a bit bolder. So yeah, this was a year of losing a lot of things. One of the things that I lost was the was access to the wonderful therapist I worked with for many years, and yeah, that was a big hit to take among a year of also losing my father and a long relationship and a job. So yeah, this poem was kind of a promise to myself that no matter what happens, I will still somehow be all right. I'll continue to exist and I'll figure out a way forward. Revolutionary. I burned the village where we were captive. The handcuffs tossed in the cauldron to melt. Threw my chains in there too, couldn't help it. You would agree if you knew how I felt. Turn your eyes to the town celebrating. A crowd of prisoners, all now released. If you feel trapped, you best get escaping. I didn't kill these guards only for me. Alarms are singing out, they harmonize. Don't worry, I'll shut down the power grid. Just focus on yourself and your own flight. I'll deal with the authorities' bullshit. Look at these wings, this face. I'm not afraid. I'll take the heat. Get out, get yours, get paid. By this point, I was tired of feeling bad about myself, and I was ready to feel powerful again. And I'm hoping that's what comes across. Gosh, I'm wondering if you can hear the extremely heavy rain that just started. Yeah, I was done feeling bad about myself. I was ready to feel good again. And I just wanted to stop worrying about what I could have done differently, and I was ready to move forward and make new choices. Now we move on to chapter 4. This is titled Pussy Rage. The theme of this is that I was just really resenting a lot of the limits I was experiencing just from existing in a woman's body in this world. So that's what you're going to hear next. Tea time. If you can't stop him, try to enjoy it. That's what I heard the old lawmaker say. If you can relax, it won't hurt one bit. Remind me, just how were you dressed that day? Think carefully, the answer means jail time. Don't shame a good man just 'cause you're a slut. Did you invite that boy to cross the line? Did you pull away when he grabbed your butt? Those skinny jeans don't slide off on their own. He had to have some help, I do suspect. Girl, don't bring this nice boy with good name down. It's his reputation we must protect. The old lawmaker works for him, not me. They're planning their tea time later this week. Yeah, I was hearing a lot about Trump in the news and just all the way over it. Ugh. Sweet air. I opened the window, tasted the air. A crowd of voices drifted up to me. A rough group of men headed to the fair, the type to tell you that's just how it be. A cozy club of boys, so unaware that I had slipped outside to follow them. I craved to know if they could even care or if they truly just act on their whims. I listened to them talk and never heard the fear that threads through girl conversations. They flew as light and easy as the birds. I was raised to fear them all as rapists. The air is sweeter for a straight white man. Acknowledge privilege. I know you can. Inspired by an event that happened at my bakery job. I worked with mostly guys for a while, and I had an unfortunate experience where I walked into the bakery into some pretty nasty jokes about women, and when I called them out on it, they were not super receptive, and it became clear that I was definitely in the minority in that room. So it was not fun. I'm glad to be out of that space. Fool. I don't concern myself with foolish men. I am intimidating. They cower. You're hard to read, one of those fools once said. That's the whole point. That's where lies my power. I'm not a newspaper. No headlines here. I don't care if my face is readable. But those lovers of words, bring yourselves near. For you, my hands and heart are all too full. A foolish man spies my straight spine and shies. Oh gods, how to stand powerful women. Those broads who carry sharpened swords and knives, bodies toughened with soft hearts tucked within. No offense meant, little buddy, you're fine. Fools who love weak women will not be mine. I worked with a guy who told me to my face that I was hard to read, and I never really know what to tell someone when they say that to me because I'm not a book. Power steering. Some days, I feel like everyone but me is equipped with built-in power steering. Actuators shining, buffed up to gleam. Hydraulic or electric, they're the thing. Me, on the other hand, I'm manual. I need some muscle when the turning comes. Change, so easy for others, brings me hell. The power steering folks think I'm no fun. Don't look for actuators, there's no use. I had them, but they were taken away. I deserved to be power steering too. Abuse wins when it happens every day. Therapy time, a scrapyard, they're the same. Each one of them a puzzle piece in game. Yeah, I've always felt a little out of place in the world, a little bit uh mislabeled in some way, I suppose. And because I was raised by a man who talked about life in terms of machinery, um, that's how this came out. I feel a lot of the times like I maybe am just like a slightly different model of person than the people around me. Maybe you can relate. Bad bitch. Best recognize a bad bitch as she walks. Wise folks give her a wide berth on the street. Her gown is all 9 yards, feathered as phlox. Her style is just divine, it can't be beat. The bad bitch glances your way with a grin. She looks you up and down, evaluates. She just might take you home. Is that a win, or will you learn the truth a bit too late? When you get close, the bad bitch grabs your wrist. The underworld is calling. Time to go. You wrench your arm from her grip with a twist. If she had asked, you would have told her no. Bad bitch is walking. Best keep your eyes down. Stay quiet till she reaches edge of town. Yeah, I was just feeling really sassy back then. I, again, was feeling tired of feeling bad about myself. And I was experimenting with what might happen if I felt good about myself. And the answer is the world didn't burn down. Cool. Facial. My facial care routine started at 10. That is, 10 years of age, not time of day. I worried about wrinkles in my skin. I should have been focused on children's play. I wanted SPF against the sun. I feared under eye lines, she spider's lace. But what was I expecting to happen? Why was my self-esteem appearance based? I grew up at the feet of a woman oversteeped in 1950s girlhood. To her brown eyes, it simply made no sense that people who look ugly can be good. The trick is, ugly isn't a real thing. It's just a made-up, hurtful hornet sting. My mother was very focused on physical beauty when I was growing up. She was very concerned about maintaining her youthful appearance, and I took that on way too young, I would say. And this is true. I really started using sunscreen on my face every day starting when I was 10 years old because that was just the kind of weird household I grew up in. Taste and see. Oh, taste and see, the Bible said to me, one little brown haired girl with hazel eyes. Oh, fear no evil, pages whispered sweet. Strong smell of incense overpowered lies. How lovely is your dwelling place, O Lord. How ugly was the daily life I saw. The nuns told me I would see my reward the day I laid in my funeral plot. I'm sorry, Bible, I gave you a read, cover to cover, every chapter verse. I like to know the things of which I speak, voice unaccompanied by thoughts the worst. I tasted and I saw both book and life, each one a unique, gorgeous, sharpened knife. I grew up in a Catholic household in an area of Vermont that was pretty conservative, pretty Christian. And so I heard a lot about what the Bible wanted from me. And after a certain point, I think I was in my teens, I got tired of hearing about that, and I sat down and read the whole thing because I wanted to know straight from the source what the hell was going on. And yeah, I spent a long time trying to fit all of those standards, and I never did succeed. Undeterred. A certain type of vulnerable's hot in women I've observed over time, but when it comes to the things that I've got, the boys don't ever want to come be mine. I cannot put my finger on the gap where my CV could use some bolstering. Each time I'm not the one, another slap. Another time I'm tossed out of the ring. I cannot be the key if I'm the lock. I cannot shrink myself small and fit in. I submit to the power that I've got. I kill it when I lose and when I win. Is there a man who wants to be with that, undeterred by the feathers in my cap? This sonnet came from me uh, navigating the high seas of Hinge and having a hard time finding somebody who would actually be into me the way I am. I found a lot of guys who would have preferred me to be a lot different than the way I am, and they would have happily accepted me that way. But finding someone to date who actually liked me for me proved to be a bit longer of a journey. Finery. I grind my teeth at night studiously, the way a jeweler works away at gems. The mouthguard helps, but my jaw wants to be so hard at work forgetting where it's been. I wake to find my face in a grimace, my asshole clenched real tight as well most times. Never formed clear memories of the hits. When I try to look for them, I'm just blind. That doesn't mean they don't come back some days. I just don't get to choose when I recall the reasons for the times I feel afraid while folks around me seem to be so calm. Get me a set of loops so I may see the pins concealed within my finery. Wrote this one after I had a pretty bad PTSD flashback. It's something that I struggle with a lot of the time. I've spent a lot of time learning skills to cope with it, but sometimes a trigger comes when I don't expect it, and it still can take me down pretty hard if I'm not prepared. Brush fire. Where were you when the brush fire stole the trees? Asleep, curled up so tight in your blankets? I hope you understand the worth of peace. The brush fire burned bright, said I should thank it. My resin dripped slow down my legs, molten. My spines opened, long stiffened, so creaky. Above, the sun pierced the night sky golden. All around my feet, piles of bursting seeds. A raging flame is made for a purpose. It will not be welcomed by all creatures. It does destroy. For some, it makes things worse. Damp flesh will be cut on its sharp features. The brush fire came, ignored all the road signs. It consumed all, whispered to me, "You're mine." There was a lot in the news as I was writing this poem about wildfires happening in other areas of the country, not near me. And I just had that on my mind. I was really curious about, what might that be like to be inside that situation. Um, Such a terrible situation. And I was also thinking about what I learned, back in elementary school about how fires help open pine cones and help new trees start to grow. So how it can be both this destructive and life-giving thing all at once. All right, a few more poems with backstory, and then I'm going to share some stuff that I'm working on to share at open mics in the future. Write or die. I write to turn my feet from the cliff's edge, direct them to the safety of the town. Each word a fence blocking me from the ledge, each paragraph a lasso on a frown. I write because I am so alive now. That didn't always used to be the case. Wanted to die, I just didn't know how to stay numb to keep up a pretty face. I write because if I had to live it, it's clear now, I know how bad my life was. Then I deserve to talk about damage. I'm evidence, I'm history, this blood. I write because finally I can speak. Let's see what kind of chaos I can wreak. So I was finally starting to feel like I had permission to even tell my own story when I got to this poem. For a while, I felt like, even if tough stuff had happened to me, there surely was no reason to talk about it. There was no reason to bring people down. Um, and it never really occurred to me that maybe sharing could help others feel less alone, the way it has helped me feel less alone when others share their story with me. Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to my younger self. She dissected life like a scientist. To mostly learn from books upon a shelf, so many socialization cues missed. Observing all the girls in the classroom, looking for how to act in the right way. Raised in the style of an institution, my life was about easing my mom's day. I parented my self-Kintsugi girl. I read the magazines of womanhood. Perfect shade of lip smackers, berry swirl. If you get kissed, you simply must taste good. To learn to be a woman is a trip. If you're lucky, hands catch you when you slip. Yeah, so I grew up in this weird combination of um my mother's very 50s influenced upbringing and the 90s girls can do anything movement, which really meant that girls can do everything, not just our share of the load. Uh, so I was getting messaging that both I should limit myself and also that I should do everything, uh, no limits allowed. So I ended up having to settle out of my own boundaries. Prophet. What is a prophet whose tongue cannot speak? Just wringing hands and visionary eye. You best let a good prophet say her piece. Her voice will be heard, she won't be denied. A prophet speaks so that she will not burst. Her silver toes are sprinting down the road. She can't outrun crowds even at her worst. She gains more speed when she sets down her load. A woman so released cannot be held, perhaps by gentle hands, but not by chains. She will not cease preaching. She has to tell. A hurt kept secret only brings more pain. Oh, prophet, when is it your turn to rest? Do you know that you aced your final test? Yeah, again, I was just sick of feeling like I couldn't talk about my own life, and I was experimenting with what might happen if I confronted that fear and just started talking about what had happened to me. Understandable, but wrong. My mother thought kids take care of parents. It's understandable, it was her life. When her mother gave birth to the youngest, the epidural left her paralyzed. My mother was the eldest at 7. A fourth sibling, James, died along the way. 3 children still left outside of heaven. My mom tried to get them from day to day. She went with them into an orphanage until the court case settled with the docs. She never reckoned with all of her rage from stolen childhood tossed among the rocks. She thought that daughters take charge very young. It wasn't normal. I knew it was wrong. True story. My mother had a really rough upbringing that instead of getting over it, she decided to pass on all of that trauma to me. Um, it's really unfortunate what she went through, but it would have probably been better for her to work through her problems instead of passing them on. And that's really too bad. Confession. I have a confession to give today. There is no kneeler here. There is no priest. I grow so weary of unwanted weight. Please let me in. Let me attend the feast. Well, the secrets that I wish to share are these. When I see parents who love their children out loud measurably in words and deeds, it broils me black with scalding red offense. I never got that love myself, you see. It's not that anything's going wrong. The good parents are fine. It's all just me, went without validation for so long. I wish that I could be those little kids, be comforted, be wanted, be like them. This was inspired by me seeing, uh, I should say, I was working at a a bowling alley, and I would see a lot of parents bring their children in just for the sake of their kid having a good time. And I found myself feeling oddly envious of those little kids, and I thought this is an odd feeling for an adult to have for a stranger who is 4 years old. And I finally realized I just really wanted to have had that experience of, somebody going out of their way to make sure I had a good time. Teams. I've worked for many husband and wife teams. Bar owners tend to come in pairs like that. One sunny day I noticed that it seems the wife always wears the cheerleader cap. She spreads the word so far and wide with ease. She tells the people, come see what he does. I always wonder when I see these queens, does being support staff give them a buzz? He's just passionate, brave wife explained, trying to make his outbursts seem okay. My tongue was silent, but my look was pained. I quit that damn job the very next day. I have witnessed the husband and wife team. I did not see the wife pursue her dream. Another true story. I have spent many years as a server and a bartender, and a lot of those years were spent working for husband and wife owners of small restaurants. And it was an odd pattern I saw where the husband was kind of the glad handing face of the restaurant, and the wife was more of the one cleaning up the messes behind him. And I just never really liked that dynamic and never really wanted it for myself. So those poems were from my book, Give It a Home, which is available on the Barnes& and Noble website. It's $9.99. It's 5 by 8. It's printed on ground wood, so it's easy on the eyes. It's I think 129 pages is what we're working with. So yeah, go ahead and get yourself a copy of that if you're so inclined. Now I have just a few free verse poems that I've been working on for the open mic that happens every week at the Cantab Lounge in Cambridge, Massachusetts. If you're ever in the area, please stop by Wednesdays at 8 p.m. and check out an amazing poetry open mic. So first, I have a poem that is inspired by a prompt that was given at that very open mic. They give a prompt every week, which is really great. And the prompt they gave that week was talk about the terrors of love. So here we go. Please do not love me. My ribs were not made with hinges. If you open me and take my heart, you leave me spatchcocked, sternum unlocked, closer than before to 2 dimensions. Please do not love me. My bones will forget their form if they melt for you. I am no snail, I grow no shell, and your devotion leaves me yet more softened, leaves me crawling for you so often that it cannot be unhealthy. It cannot be healthy. Please do not love me. Do not force me to use the parachute I keep unfurling and packing, unfurling and packing, unfurling and packing again. There is no testing its seams, only trusting and release. Please do not love me unless you will take every drop of my blood and refill my yearning veins with yours, unless you will press my ear to your chest so that I can hear the waves, unless you also know that the moon does not show its face when you do not sleep next to me, unless my breath is what you crave. Do what you must, just please do not love me. Next, this one is tentatively titled Drain. Grandmother, turn me into a plumber. Teach me the skills to thread a drain into the deep part of my soul, the one where the feelings puddle up and rot the floor. Teach me to account for that place in the building codes. The work was all for nothing if the pipes don't hold. Keepers of magic, turn me into an electrician. Teach me the skills to uncross all my wires. Show me a way to ground the house, how to keep myself and everyone around me safe and covered in light. Contractors of the stars, turn me into a worker. Teach me the skills to take orders. Humble my forehead to the dirt beneath the grass and roughen my hands so that they can be of use. Show me how to say yes when asked. Universe, turn me into a leader. Teach me the skills to reach out for what I need. Show me the way to speak without causing pain, how to pull people together while keeping them on their own feet, and which path among the many to take. But first, let me become a plumber wise. It's high time I got to clearing these pipes. All right, one more poem to share with you today. Thank you so much for joining me for some lunchtime poetry. If you enjoyed what you heard, please consider subscribing or checking out some of my other work on the LizzyCoShow.com. And checking out, if you liked what you saw today, I've been releasing these all as podcasts as well, which you can also find on my website. So, one more poem for you today. Flower Shop. Sometimes I buy her those lush coral peonies. She has no idea. How could she? I walk to the flower shop each morning. My front door closes as the sun creeps over my windowsill. I look up at the leftover night sky. It's always there. Even when the heavens feel strange and rare, we move about below. The blue doesn't care. I would give the coral peonies to my girl the way I used to, but she can't see that they're beautiful, even though it's true. These days, her nose wrinkles in confusion at the sweet scent. I gave her many reasons to love the blooms, but the heart won't be forced. She asked me to go away, so I went. I smile at the sweet teen who works the register. She compliments my choice of outfit and has the grace not to comment on the change in my floral tastes today. She's younger than me. I think we give each other hope in different ways. I'm proof that women are allowed to be both unusual and happy. She is proof that new troops are rising in the ranks. I trust that she's going to be okay. She moves quite freely. I leave that flower shop content, having boiled my bit of the glue that binds us all together. When I explore the world, my wings generate a small brave wind, form a skin-warming day from cold weather. I pass out blooms to everyone but my girl on my walk home. The tiny wild heart baby who gapes at my golden shoes. The young exhausted father flexing tanned arms in service to the oldest woman in town, her body concentrated by time into impossibly small frame. She paid her dues. Ask her why she frowns. The bouquet I chose fills my apartment with lavender violet lilac scent. Ask anyone in this town about me and they'll say she came and went. Thanks again for joining today. I hope you liked what you heard, and please consider subscribing. I'll see you next time for another episode of Live with Lizzy, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.